morning started off kind of slow, it would not stay that way for long, as in the distance I could see something that appeared to be sitting there, and so in my curiosity I decided to go up and see what it was. And after a little more waiting came some more good news. A headlight in the distance of an approaching train. I saw a headlight coming in the opposite direction from what turned out to be another freight train headed east. Then a Union Pacific local decided to come out of nowhere and startle me with 1979.
And another one.
Ladies and gentlemen, a good chunk of the action you saw on that day, it happened again. BNSF practically pulled a deja vu on me, and it was wonderful. The day started out already pretty strong, as I had heard that there was a late Amtrak California Zephyr coming through Lincoln, actually in daylight this time. By now I've seen several late Amtrak Zephyrs, and I plan to make a video about them sometime in the future, so stay tuned for that. After the Zephyr passed, I had to quickly leave due to school obligations, but came back a few hours later with a little bit more sunlight in the sky to see what else the BNSF Creston subdivision had to offer. Straight away, there was already a mysterious train in the distance, which I made a mental note to take a look at later on, but before I could do that, I saw a headlight in the distance and so decided to stick around. I thought that this was just going to be another standard empty coal train until I saw what was trailing.
I don't usually foam on camera, but oh my gosh, let's go.
I've only seen 2 of these anniversary units, and the first one I only caught earlier this year. So sorry again for the foam, but this is a big deal. And as if that wasn't enough, another headlight showed up in the distance, giving the opportunity for both a train race and technically a 3-way meet. What a day this was turning out to be. And as if that wasn't enough, the trailing unit on this train was also something special. To you viewers from up north, this might seem like another standard CP AC-44 rebuild, and you would be right, but I've been wanting to see one of these locomotives for a good while, and every time I've tried, I just barely missed one. So now, I got one right before my eyes, and right after the anniversary unit. Back-to-back special locomotives. This is insane. After this bit of action came a Union Pacific local led by, surprise, surprise, 1979. I know it's a special unit and everything, but I have seen this locomotive so many times, it's not funny anymore. I'm sorry that I'm nitpicky, but it's true. So, regardless, it's still neat to catch a local, and it would make for some interesting operations as it made it up to where the mysterious freight train was. Around this time, I realized I couldn't stick around for much longer as my battery was running low, but I saw one more train coming, so I figured I would quickly get this and then head down to see whatever that BNSF train was. And sure enough, with less than 20% battery left on the phone camera, I headed down to the yard to see the UP local doing its rounds and whatever BNSF train this was. And oh boy, it was a good train. This turned out to be some kind of grain train with a Heritage 2-9 Duo and a former Santa Fe -9 that was rebuilt by BNSF into an AC-44 C4M. And besides the BNSF grain and the UP local, engine number 47 was also out and about today on the OL&B. That's right, I should probably tell you what all of this is. That locomotive and this whole busy yard is owned by a railroad called the Omaha, Lincoln, and Beatrice. This is a short line that dates back to the early 1900s and at one point had interurban services, but for the majority of its life has hauled local freight in the Lincoln area. Despite its name, it has only served the city of Lincoln, but even then the short line has had a good amount of traffic as it serves a lumber yard, a cement plant, several major grain elevators, and of course, interchange traffic from the Class 1 railroads. And just like every short line, the OL&B has quite the interesting motive power, as you can see number 47 here, which, although it has many resemblances to a genset switcher, it is actually an MP1500D that was originally working down in Houston before coming up here. There are also several other locomotives on the OL&B's roster, though at the moment, number 47 is the main workhorse of the fleet. As you can tell with the red paint scheme and the railroad nicknaming itself the Big Red Line, the OL&B is very proud of its Cornhusker heritage. And so, with the battery still draining and a lot of good trains under my belt for the day, I decided to call it quits here and head back, but not before I heard one last empty coal train sneaking up behind me.